So, I'd like to consider myself a digital minimalist to some degree. As someone who grew up with the privilege of the internet in the early 2000s, it's safe to say I watched social media blow up. I mean, I remember a time where I created a Facebook account and I kept asking everyone in my school if they had heard of this platform, but it seemed no one knew about it. And I also remember a time where we literally had to log on to Yahoo Messenger. Yeah, dark days. And I'm sure we all know about the recent social media blackout of 2021 that happened for a few hours. Comment down below how that made you feel, what you were doing in the moment, how you realized, and all that good stuff. Anyway, when this happened, it had me considering a lot of things like, what does it mean to constantly be online and never truly off? Why did I feel some relief the day I deleted the Twitter app off my phone a while ago? And it was a very visible mental and physical relief. What does this all mean in the grand scheme of things? Especially because it hasn't always been this way. So it's no longer news at this point that the internet affects our brains in very physical ways even. And with the unholy matrimony of smartphones and social media, we can't seem to escape it. It's everywhere we go. Gone are the days when you had to log in and you could log right off. There's a real reason why red colors are notifications. I mean, it's the same color that we've come to know to mean danger or stop. And there's also something to be said for seeing numbers. Numbers aren't static in the way that words can be. So we either like to see numbers go up or down, preferably up. And everyone who creates online, whether it's YouTube or a blog, can definitely relate with this. I mean, who doesn't want to see upward facing arrows rather than the downward facing ones, because they seem to mean something that humans instinctively fear. Failure. Failure gets you booted out of the primitive camp, so goodbye to food, shelter, and relationships. And even though we're a long time away from that primal life, although, are we really? There's a real reason you can't get off your phone. It's intentional. It was designed that way. Research has found that dopamine and the reward pleasure pathway are involved in this entire process. Social media is the high that keeps on giving, and who doesn't want to feel good? Areas such as the ventral segmental area and striatum in the brain have been implicated thanks to the positive validation from likes, both online and offline. I mean, social media provides instant rewards with little to no effort. This rewires the brain, basically saying you can get maximum effort from doing mostly nothing. And it's not necessarily nothing in the literal sense, but compared with physical lifting and the hustle and bustle of daily life, it kind of pales in comparison. I mean, you no longer have to go out of your way to make small talk at work or send people gifts and actually remember their birthdays to gain some social satisfaction. You can just post a tweet from the comfort of your house in your PJs and get that same effect. Hyperstimulation works to reorganize our predictive model and restructure our habits. We wake up and reach for our phones, never leave home without it, and constantly feel drawn towards our phones even when in the company of friends. So I found this study that showed that viewing photos with many compared with few likes was associated with greater activity in neural regions implicated in reward processing, social cognition, imitation, and attention as well. The simple act of pushing a button to review information has been shown to trigger arousal and compulsive behavior, and newly developed features on smartphones add further layers of anticipation. But I've often had to ask myself this: what does it even matter anyway? I mean, we're all probably addicted to one thing or the other, whether it's coffee or work or a religion. Pick your poison, right? I mean, to be honest, I feel like social media gets a generally bad rep, and it definitely has its benefits. I mean, it's responsible for increased global connectivity, for quick access to information, and even an increase in digital nomad jobs. But maybe some poisons are better than others. I mean, maybe some work faster. I remember coming across someone's theory where they said, what if oxygen is a poison that kills humans slowly and deliberately? I found it interesting but also amusing because the alternative is to die within minutes. And life is on a spectrum, similar to the way that we don't simply classify mental disorders within psychiatry based on the symptoms alone, because we know that they occur to a certain degree in the average person. I mean, we've all felt some level of anxiety, we've all felt some level of depression, we've all felt some level of mood disorders and other disorders within mental health. But it becomes a problem when it affects the quality of life and the day-to-day living, socials, work, the basics. And whether it's becoming accustomed to our filtered versions and the validation that comes from that, or the phantom vibration syndrome, which is feeling your phone vibrate when it's not actually ringing, this can quickly become problematic. The first thing they do on waking up in the morning is to check what is happening. And being without a phone for 30 minutes becomes an issue. And when they lose their phones, they become sick. And he's right. Withdrawal symptoms from fellow addictive substances such as alcohol are a real phenomenon. And this can be behavioral, like having intrusive thoughts about setting, boredom, agitation. It can even be more physiological. Contrary to how it feels, the internet hasn't even been around that long. And it's difficult to say what the long-term effects may be. But trying to spend less time online, I've noticed a couple of things. I've become more patient. I can actually start reading something and finish it without hurrying or trying to move to the next thing. I've also become more thoughtful and thinking through my own internal world, not in a way that I become prone to overthinking, but in just a way where I can think through things and form my own personal opinions without it indirectly or subconsciously being affected by what the algorithm shows me. But most importantly, I felt more settled, and I don't know how to explain this, but just within me, I felt less anxious and I felt less hurried. Now, I don't mean to sound alarmist. To be honest, I'm kind of tired of this social media is the devil narrative. It's definitely important to have a balanced view, and I just think it's better to be well informed. What's your relationship with social media like? How has it evolved over time? Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. Let's chat in the comments and I will meet you there.